Honorable Men Discord, welcome back. Tragedy or murder? Tragedy or murder? We're here to talk about Aaliyah. But for those of you who have never heard of Aaliyah, let's get into it. So Aaliyah Donna Horton was born January 16, 1979. She's a singer, actress, dancer, and model. She was born in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York, and was raised in Detroit. She was discovered at the age of 10 on a television show called Star Search, and she eventually sang alongside legendary Atlanta artist Gladys Knight, known for her hit record, Midnight Train to Georgia. Aaliyah signed with Jive Records at age 12, and her uncle Barry Hankerson also signed her to the Black Ground Records. Now, I believe she was signed to both Jive Records and Black Ground Records. I don't understand how that was possible. I'll be honest with you, that alone sounds a little bit questionable to me, that she was signed to both labels. But it was her uncle Barry who introduced her to R. Kelly, who became her mentor, lead songwriter, and producer of her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. And that came out in 1994. The album went on to sell 3 million copies in the United States and was certified double platinum. When allegations about an illegal marriage to R. Kelly surfaced, Aaliyah ended her contract with Jive and signed with Atlantic Records. 2 years later in 1996, she released One in a Million, after being surrounded by her music family comprised of Timbaland, who produced records, Missy Elliott, that I believe also produced records, and Genuine. Timbaland would often refer to her as baby girl. The album also sold 3 million copies just as the first album did. So it was a very successful sophomore release. It sold 3 million copies in the US, as did the first album, and worldwide it sold 8 million records worldwide. In 2000, Aaliyah made her acting debut in the film Romeo Must Die alongside DMX and martial artist Jet Li. She also contributed to the soundtrack for that album. Oddly enough, there's something strange about that album. I don't know what label it was released on, but I remember for a long period of time I couldn't find it on iTunes. If any of you can find it on iTunes, let me know. But for some reason, back in the days I had the CD. I owned the CD for that album, but for some reason, I don't know what it is with some labels releasing certain albums. There's like conflicts and they don't let it get on iTunes. I know De La Soul just recently were able to get their catalog uploaded onto iTunes also. But let me know in the comments if the Romeo Must Die soundtrack is available on iTunes. Let me know. I want to check it out for old time's sake. But moving forward, after Romeo Must Die, the second movie that she was filmed in was she had a starring role in was Queen of the Damned. But unfortunately, that movie was released after she passed away. Along with that film, her final album, self-titled Aaliyah, was also released in 2001. So Aaliyah died August 25th of 2001. Tragedy or murder? That's what we're here to talk about. Now, as far as tragedy, because I split the two down the middle, the plane was leaving out of the Bahamas because she and her team finished wrapping up the video shoot for Rock the Boat. The plane was heading back to Miami. Including Aaliyah and her bodyguard, it was 8 passengers total. The plane was said to have engine failure. Now, Aaliyah learned that the plane would struggle carrying all 8 passengers, especially her 300-pound bodyguard. Aside from the passengers and the 300-pound bodyguard, I believe there was excessive luggage and equipment. So it just, complete tragedy. But in terms of murder, after the incident, after the crash, because the crash took place shortly after the plane took off, it was said that the pilot, when they did the autopsy, was later found to have traces of alcohol and cocaine in his body. He was also not qualified to fly the aircraft designated for that flight. The witness, I guess, people that were there that did not get on the plane said that Aaliyah was hesitant to get on the plane in the first place. She didn't like the fact that it was cramped, and I guess the team, because she had a schedule to meet in Miami, the team told her that everything will be all right, and it was said that someone gave her sleeping pills so that she could be comfortable and relaxed in order to withstand the flight, and that's exactly what happened. So in terms of the sleeping pill, it was said that she was unconscious when she got on the plane. So for that reason, I look at that as a form of murder, because if the talent, who is the main reason why everyone is there, there is no team, there is no bodyguard if there's no Aaliyah. So if the talent is uncomfortable and says she doesn't want to get on the flight, I don't know why anyone is suggesting sleeping pills. It's like who's the boss, for lack of a better word. The talent is the boss. There's a reason why celebrities act. There's a word for it. Act like prima donnas. The talent is the boss. I'm not saying celebrities are supposed to be disrespectful or act like assholes, but if Aaliyah was uncomfortable, everyone should have listened. Phone calls should have been made to make adjustments. It didn't matter what the deadline was in Miami, Florida. I don't believe it was worth getting on a plane under those circumstances. But let's continue talking about it. All right, so welcome back. Right now, I'm standing in front of the last known address of our beloved actress, artist, singer, model, Aaliyah. She stayed in the building right behind me. It's 25th Century on the west side of Manhattan. This is the last known residence where she lived. This was reported in the 2001 news report from Eyewitness News. So there you go. Rest in peace, Aaliyah. And let's get back to this presentation. Honorable Men Discord. So the tragedy in all of this is that Aaliyah passed way too young, going too soon. She started at a young age. I believe, in my opinion, she was taken advantage of. And I say that only because there's no way that it's on record that from 1994 to 1995, she was married to R. Kelly. And she was a little girl. I think that's just disgusting. And I'm an R. Kelly fan, but the fact that he found himself married to someone so young is disgusting. So the tragedy is the fact that I feel like she was exploited at a young age. The tragedy of the plane not being properly screened. They said it was one of the engines went out on the plane. As per the Eyewitness News report, they said one of the engines went out. I don't know what procedures they had in place to make sure the plane was ready for takeoff. I don't know if all of this happened because her team was in such a rush to make it back to not make it back to, but make it to Miami for whatever she had scheduled. But it's just a tragedy, an avoidable tragedy, definitely an avoidable tragedy in my point of view. I just think that even though this happened years ago, there's something to be that we could all take from this. Slow down a little bit in life. And I'm saying this as a New Yorker, as a native resident New Yorker of New York. Everyone seems to be in a rush to get to their destination. Everyone's in a rush. There's no patience. And Aaliyah, like myself, was born in New York, lived in New York. Like I just showed you the last known residence that she lived at, which is new to me because for some reason, I would have thought someone who sold that many albums and was that successful, I would have thought she was living in LA. I really didn't know she was staying in an apartment in Manhattan. I'm sure the apartment is nice because it's on the west side, but that's neither here nor there. I just think the whole thing's a tragedy that could have been avoided, but it's definitely a testament to slow down. Don't rush. Be patient. Reschedule. Half of the time, many of these things that we rush for is not even, it can be rescheduled, and even when you think it can't be rescheduled because it's so important to make that deadline, safety first. Because even if it was a vehicle, I was telling myself this, even if it was a vehicle and the vehicle was packed to its limit, I wouldn't want to ride in it. Especially if I'm the talent. If I'm the talent, I know myself, I would say, yeah, no, I'm taking a different vehicle. This is too packed. So when we're talking about flying in the air, I wouldn't play that. But this is not about me. This is about the unfortunate passing of Aaliyah and the team that went down with her. But I'm gonna call this a murder because of the state of the pilot. Pilots are trained for all types of scenarios, especially engine failure. Now, the fact that the autopsy said that he had alcohol and cocaine in the system, they didn't stand a chance. So there's a lot of layers to this. We could talk about the fact that Aaliyah was given a sleeping pill so that she could be calm to board the plane. But this is also about the fact that the pilot's negligence is why I call this murder. Because to have alcohol and cocaine in your system and you didn't have enough respect to say, no, I can't fly this plane. He must have been hard up for the money because he didn't even care about his own life. To have cocaine and alcohol in your system and say this, and I'll go ahead and fly the plane. He was definitely out of his mind. It's insane. It's unfortunate. It's insane. But then you mix that with him being high and the engine failure, they didn't stand a chance. It's unfortunate, but I'm calling this a murder. It's not even a tragedy. It's a combination of both. It's a tragedy and a murder, but it's definitely a murder. So let me know what you think. Again, rest in peace, Aaliyah. Going too soon. Such a wonderful talent. And my condolences to her family. And that's it. I don't know what else to say. Learn from all these things that happen in life, with celebrities, family members. There's something you could take from it. And that's it for now. Thank you for tuning in. As always, share the content, tell a friend, and I appreciate all of you. Honorable Men Discord.